All right, guys, what's happening? We got a special show tonight, Monday night live cast. We'll be back tomorrow night with another guest, but tonight we got a special one. We got our buddy Roy Hawk, and he is now a two-time U.S. Open winner. What's happening, Roy?
Hey man, how are you? It's been a while
Good,
since I
good.
saw you last.
Yeah, it's been a minute or two, but heck, before we know it, we'll be right back at it. Can you hear me all right? I know we had some
Yeah, man,
audio stuff.
you sound really good now.
Good, good. Um, Hey, I'm excited to have you on here. You know, we've known each other, been friends for a long time, and first time we've had you on the show, and I guess it's a pretty big event to win that U.S. Open, huh?
Yeah, man, I was wondering, what it took to actually get on your show. I guess I got it figured out
Ah,
now.
well, well, I tell you, not to win it once, but to win it twice. Just tell us a little bit about how that feels to do that. I mean, you're fishing against the best anglers in the western part of the United States for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. It's an honor for sure, and it's going to do a lot for my family, and that's probably the most important thing. Just knowing that I live on winning still. I've got some great sponsors, but I still can't survive throughout the year without winnings. And to get a good check like that, it means a ton to me and my family, and it just means that it's like a hunter that knocks down an elk or something. Man, they know they're going to eat for the rest of the year. So it's a blessing, and just thankful for it. And then that, getting two of those trophies, just personally, that's amazing, dude. It's something that I pursued for a long time before I ever got one, and now I got two. So, it's kind of a dream come true. And this one kind of, not that the first one didn't mean a lot, because it really did. But the second one, I think it even means a little bit more, just being able to have two. So pretty cool.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about the fact that you said you're one of the few guys that live on winnings, and that's a tough deal to be able to do that and not have that sponsor money to back you up there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's a challenge to go out and compete against these guys, because they are the best of the best. What would you tell a young angler coming into it? And we're going to jump around a lot, on this deal because I got a lot
Yeah.
of topics I want to cover. Um, when you start off, are you better off to try to set up that basis for having some sponsorship, or again, there are not many guys that survive just off winning. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think right out of the gate, you have to really, really know that this is what you're supposed to do. And that starts with prayer. You know what I mean? And you go where the Lord leads you. You know what I mean? And He'll take care of the rest. But I'm not the best guy to ask the best route to become a professional fisherman. I can tell you how I did it. I don't know if it's the best route, and I know for sure it's not the best route for a lot of people. So it's a lot of feast and famine, and a lot of sleeping in the dirt and that type of stuff. But first of all, you got to have a burning desire for it. You got to know that that's the path you're supposed to be on, and then you got to be willing to sacrifice, and I mean sacrifice just about anything, you know, along the way. So
And
it's
that seems to be a common theme when we have guys on the show, from young guys to older veterans like yourself, that it's the dedication and commitment to making those sacrifices of maybe not sleeping at the Holiday Inn Express and sleeping in the back of your truck,
yeah.
versus the making it or not making it. The U.S. Open is a special tournament. I mean, like I said, it brings the best of the West together for one big tournament. But can you talk a little bit about the format? Because I think a lot of the guys on the East Coast don't really understand how it works. And there were two big trophies given away there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they have co-anglers in the event, and they call them triple A's instead of co-anglers. And each day you go out and you'll draw a triple A, and you're fishing for 5 fish combined. So if my triple A catches all 5, or if I catch all 5, we both get that weight together. We work as a team for that day. It allows, like a triple A to draw an Aaron Martins or a Skeet Reese or whoever might be in that tournament, and be able to fish with them as a team for that day. It's an incredible format, and you really get to that AAA is like your best friend for the day for 8 hours. And, where a lot of times, like say in a Toyota series, you draw a co-angler and whatnot, you guys have a good time or whatever, but you're not really bonding and connecting as much. I mean, I might be in the front of the boat and just focus on what I'm doing all day long, and he's focused on doing what he's doing, and you really don't get a chance to really mesh. But in this deal where you're like basically a team for the day, you're fishing a team tournament together, you become best friends. I mean, it's all high fives, and it doesn't matter who catches them, and you're trying to help him, and you know what I mean.
Right.
You're feeding him snacks, you're keeping him pumped up. You know what I mean. You're like, dude, you got to stay fueled up, man. I need 100% out of you today. You know what I mean. It makes it a lot of fun, and it's a unique format, and it works great for like a standalone event like the U.S. Open, and it's really cool for some of these guys that don't get a chance to hang out with some of the other pros. They maybe are in a club, that type of stuff, and they come jump in this event, and who knows who they're going to draw. They could draw a really cool guy, and someone, Rick Clunn's there. You know what I mean? You just never know who you're going to draw. You get an opportunity to go hang out with Rick Clunn on the boat for the day. It might be worth. I'd look into fishing AAA if I knew for sure I was going to draw him. You know what I mean?
Right. You might even get to fish with Roy Hawk too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's you're a humble guy. You've always been a humble guy, but you've had a lot of success. Let's talk a little bit about. I know there was a couple key baits that you used last week to secure the victory. Why don't you go ahead and talk about those, and maybe talk a little bit about how you were fishing? There were some weather issues there at the U.S. Open as well, right?
Yeah. The first day we got canceled the first day, and the forecast was so strong that it was obvious that we were going to get canceled. And Billy, the tournament director, called the tournament the night before the event, the first day, so that we didn't have to go down to the ramp and clog up the ramp or do anything like that. We could just stay in place where we were, and we didn't have to worry about it. It got called off at like, I don't know, 6 or something that night, and we knew we would be fishing that first day. So that was pretty cool. Most of the time you have to show up down at the ramp, and then they go out and test the waters and this and that, and then decide, all right, we're not fishing. You got to go back home, 2 hours away or whatever. But yeah, we canceled the first day, and man, I'll tell you what, after we get a day off, you have practice, and then there's a Sunday we have our little sponsors row and our meeting and all that stuff. We're not allowed on the water on Sunday, and then Monday got canceled. So after all that, if these guys don't have their tackle in order and their boat shined up, man, I don't know. You know what I mean? Me and my son were out there rigging rods for like 2 days straight. You know what I mean? We had everything so tidy. It was wild. But yeah, man, going into the second day, which is now the first day on Tuesday, I was really excited to just get out there. I had a really good feeling about the area where I was fishing. In practice, I didn't get a lot of bites, but it's an area known for big ones, and I knew it was going to be tough. I knew in practice that I just didn't get a lot of bites in there, but I just felt strongly that that's where I should be. And I spent my whole practice in there. I figured out certain casts to make, certain little rocks I was going to target, things like that. Really, became very intimate with what was in there. I had never seen the lake that low, so it wasn't like I went to my favorite bush and fished or something like that. I'd never seen it that low. So a lot of the stuff I fished in last year's US Open was 14 feet in the air. So it's kind of all new ground, so to speak. And I just went in there and got intimate with it. And in practice, in the tournament, what ended up being the best, I fished all different types of baits. I felt really good about throwing a jig. And it ended up being the best bait that I had. I caught 2 big ones the first day and 2 big ones the second day, including the biggest bass of the tournament, on a jig that a good friend of mine, Chris Kinley, makes, and we call it my jig. He says that it's his jig, and I say it's my jig, and so we both just call it my jig. That's what we nicknamed it. So. But yeah, that one was real key. It's basically kind of an Arky, get it in the picture here. It's an Arky style head. This is a fine silicone material. And it's kind of a power finesse type of jig. It's got a medium wire here, for the hook. Right. I use 16-pound Yamamoto Sugoi line for that. It'd be a good hook for anything from 14 to, I don't know, 20 would probably be pushing it. You know what I mean? But 14, 16-pound line, kind of sparse type of cover. It worked great. The stuff I was fishing was just all rock. It was off-colored water and just all rock. There was no grass back in there and no wood to speak of. So it's basically just fishing around rock and sand and little ledges and stuff like that. The trailer I was using, this is a Yamamoto Psycho Dad. And I don't know if you can see it for sure, but it's green pumpkin with red flake. And
there you go. We got you on full screen now.
Red flakes in there. But yeah, just a subtle color with just a little bit of red pop. And that's the one that I caught the 4 big ones on, 2 each day. Made a huge difference, you know, in the tournament. And the rest of them I think I caught 1 or 2 on this jig. This is one that I'd used when I got out where it was a little bit clearer water. This is made by Pepper Jigs. It's their casting head. And it's got a lighter wire hook. And I was using this with 12-pound test. And I put a little Yamamoto 4-inch double tail on there, watermelon red flake. But similar tone on the skirt. It's just kind of a green pumpkin. It's one that I actually made myself. It's got some brown tones in it. I don't know if you can see it, but not a big deal. It's just kind of a green pumpkin color. And then my co-anglers, I think I drop shotted one on a robo worm, and my co-anglers caught a bass or 2 both days on a robo worm, drop shotted as well. And which were very important. Like we said, it's combined weight, and together, you know, me and my AAA, we caught 5 keeper bass the first day, and with my AAA's help, the second day we caught 6 keeper bass. So we upgraded 1 time throughout the whole day, the second day for the win. So it was wild. There was no margin for error in that deal.
Yeah, that place is normally tough this time of year, though, right?
Yeah, it can be really tough. And there were guys in other parts of the lake were fishing a little bit better, you know, as far as numbers. I mean, I talked to some of my friends that were catching 20, 30 bass a day. You know what I mean? But this, I just wanted to really target bigger fish, and I was willing to stay there. I mean, dude, if I didn't have a couple lucky breaks, I mean, I could have come in with 4 or 5 pounds each day. You know what I mean? Total. So
I think I read somewhere that 11 pounds a day is, you know, usually what it takes to win the Open. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's pretty common. I think last year was about a little over 10 pounds a day, and yeah, it's anywhere from 9 pounds to 12 pounds a day is real common, unless the lake's up high. I fished some of them before that it was closer to 15 pounds a day.
Right. How many is this that you fish now? Do you know off the top of your head?
I have no idea. I mean, it's been like a lifelong pursuit. When I first kind of got started, I was still borrowing boats and whatnot, and I would always, you know, I'd fish little tournaments throughout the year, but I'd save up, and this would be my one shot, you know, to kind of get myself going to where I could, you know, win something big, get a boat, that type of stuff. And it was just my one shot a year that I'd take. And I don't remember how many I fished until I actually caught the biggest fish of the tournament one time. And at that time they gave away a new boat for the single biggest bass of the event. And I won that. That's how I was in a borrowed boat when I won that. And that allowed me to sell that certificate and then upgrade and get a bigger boat. And and that was in 2002. So, yeah, man.
If I remember reading right, you had big fish of the tournament this year too, right? A 4 something.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Did you catch it, or did the AAA catch it?
No, I caught it. Yeah. I mean, what the fish my AAAs added were just as valuable, man. I'm telling you.
Sure.
I mean, a couple of them were like line burners. But if we didn't have one of those, if I couldn't rely on them in this scenario to make sure and get us a couple line burners to go in there, you know, if we shave 1 pound off my weight, I don't win.
Right. And
you know what I mean?
Brings me to a question from my buddy Lenny Baird. He's a co-angler hammer.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he really is. He catches them everywhere he goes, you know, at the back of the boat.
He's the guy I want to draw. Yeah.
So do you get to practice with your co-angler?
No, it's random draw. You don't know until the night before, and it's pretty late usually, 7, 8 o'clock at night when you find out who you're going to be fishing with. So yeah, we don't know, there's no way to, you know, work that out or anything. Occasionally you may draw somebody you practice with, which I've had happen. But yeah, you don't know who you're going to fish with either of the days. And you fish with different people each day.
So you can practice with the guys that are AAA. You just
don't
necessarily know whether you're going to get them or not.
Yeah, correct.
And it's like this, like John Sanko is saying, it's great that the combined weight, it makes you take care of that AAA angler instead of being backboated or whatever the case may be.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it just makes it a fun time. I mean, it's just a riot. You know what I mean? I've had some co-anglers that have caught the biggest fish of the whole tournament before in the back of my boat, and man, it was all high fives, bro, because it's gold for both of us.
You're probably more eager to help them as well, knowing that they're not going to catch a fish that could potentially hurt you.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm usually pretty good to my co-anglers anyway, but it's it's a whole different thing. I mean, if you're not using your AAA, to your advantage, I mean, you're crazy, because they're part of the team. You know what I mean? They're an important tool that's in that boat. They're relying on you, and you're relying on them.
Oh, wow. That's a long question from John Sanko. We'll save that one a little bit till later on in the show. We'll get some more questions. But so, being involved with this for quite a few years as I have, you see a common theme where they're really strong anglers that come from the West, and do well on the East Coast. What do you think causes that?
I think the diversity in the Western United States, as far as the fisheries that we fish, like our region, say like, a guy coming out of Florida, nothing against people that come out of Florida, but if they fish regionally and they live in Florida, you can understand that they don't have a ton of diversity in their fisheries. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We're out west. I mean, we could be at Lake Shasta, where it's steep and deep and clear water, fishing for spotted bass. You could be at the California Delta, fishing tidal fisheries for largemouth, swamp type situation down there, Clear Lake. You got all the Colorado River where you have largemouth and smallmouth, all around. So I think just the diversity of the fisheries that we experience here in the West is, I mean, it's a great training ground to go back east and be able to accommodate and be able to adapt, to a variety of scenarios that you're going to come across.
Right. And, it really is. I'm sitting here, was preparing for this tonight with a little bit I prepared. It started, all the names of the West Coast guys started popping into my head. And I mean, it's just so many of y'all that have had great success as pro fishermen. I think it's something to be said for it. With that being said, there's a new event for 2023 that's coming.
Yeah.
The Best of the West. They announced that right after the Open. Did you hear about it? What do you know about it? Are you excited about it?
Yeah, it sounds like a pretty cool deal for the Western guys. It doesn't look like I'll be able to fish enough of the right events to be able to qualify for it myself. I'd like to, man. It sounds like an awesome event. They're going to take 10 guys out of the WON Bass Pro Circuit. So you have to fish all the WON Bass events, including the U.S. Open. They'll take the top 10 out of that. They'll take the top 10 out of the Wild West Pro Circuit. They'll take the top 10 out of the MLF Toyota Series, and they'll take 20 out of the Wild West Bass Apex Series, and that'll make their combined field to make the event. So,
and it'll just be a shootout, a championship, like a classic or a Red Crest type deal.
Yep, they're supposed to have, it's going to be like an arena type of deal where you're going to have sponsor booths, that type of stuff. And it looks like a really cool deal. And I think they said 2022 is when it'll be. I think the qualifications basically be for next year. And
then the tournament will be in 23. I think I read somewhere.
Yeah. Or 23.
Awesome.
Yeah, sorry.
Maybe
I'm a year behind
we can figure a way to get out there to that. That'd be awesome. I've been threatening to come to one of the U.S. Opens for years, and
man, we're gonna have to fly you out there, man.
Yeah, next year
we'll chip in and buy you a flight, and then you can stay with us at my hotel or something, and
that's perfect.
We'll barbecue for you. And It'll be a
I'm
good time.
there. Just plan on it. So during the off season, what I'm sure that this win will change a lot of what you do in the off season. But what have you got planned for the off season? Are you a hunter?
No, I fish nonstop. I don't have an off season. I never do. I don't have an off season. I fish every Wednesday nighter, team tournament, anything they'll let me into year round.
Right. And how important do you think that is? I've always heard that there's no substitute for time on the water.
Yeah, it's I mean, there's two ways to look at it. I mean, I know really successful top pros, and they just fish the tour, and that's all they do. And they don't fun fish much. They don't do this. You know what I mean? All they do is fish the tour, and then they go hunting and vacation through the off season, and they don't pick up a rod or anything. You know what I mean? For months and months, and it works great for them. For me, I love this sport. It's all I do. You know what I mean? I'm fully engaged in the sport. It's you know what I mean? That's just how I've always been. I've always lived that way. You know what I mean? Where I just fish everything. I love to tournament bass fish and love to hang out with all my fishing friends and get out there on the water.
Oh, wow. All right. I got a good question for you here in a minute, but I got to go ahead and get to it. Lance Egan wants to know this.
Oh, my man. What has he got?
I don't understand the Walter thing, so maybe you can go ahead and explain it.
I can't even read it.
It says,
Walter. Go ahead.
Is that from all the bass you catch? Or Walter size? Or is it just a family name?
Yeah, my first name is Walter. Roy's my middle name.
Oh, so I learned something tonight. That's good.
Yeah, he's messing with me. I love you, Lance. I haven't seen that dude. And we worked at a tackle store in Salt Lake up there, and called Fish Tech Outfitters. Awesome store. If anyone gets up to Salt Lake that way, check it out for sure. And he was kind of in the fly end, and I was in the bass end, and we always had just a riot working together. He's a great dude. I think he started his own fly shop there in I think it's American Fork or Lehigh or something up there in Utah. I heard it's a real nice little deal though. It's cool.
All right, here we got another one here. Just try to get some of these things knocked out as they come up. Lance said, "You're the man, Walter."
Yeah, he's the man. He knows he is.
How did your experience in California transfer over to the Fishing the Elite series, even though we didn't go to the West Coast much? I think we kind of hit on that, but if you want to hit on it again, that would be good, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I've never lived in. Well, I actually did live I lived at the Delta for a few months, but I've mainly never lived in California. But I grew up in Salt Lake City, Utah, and I've lived at Lake Havasu for about 10 years or so. But the diversity of the West is a great training ground to be able to just catch bass anywhere in the country, for sure. It's just so diverse from all the different fisheries you can access. And like the Toyota series, or like what used to be the FLW, our region would take us from the Columbia River all the way at the far. It'd be like, having New York to Florida to, Missouri being that's the West Coast, and you got to fish all those fisheries that are in that zone. That's what the West Coast, our tournament area is. It's massive. We got to drive 16 hours or further sometimes. And I live in the center part of it. It's massive, in comparison. A lot of these guys, they'll fish their regional tournaments and they drive 2 hours any which way and never leave that circle, But yeah,
right, I think that's why you're seeing so many people move to Alabama, right?
Sure.
It's about as central as you can get, and the fishing's pretty good there. But still, I mean, looking at it, there's not the diversity there that you guys have out west for sure.
Correct. Yeah, there is some diversity, but yeah, we have vast diversity.
And John Senko, I have to agree with you on this, that the fishing community in general is awesome. I mean, I've got got friends all over the country that I never would have met or
Yeah.
even known had it not been for this sport. And and some of them I've become pretty close with. So it's I mean it's a great group of very good people.
Yeah, it's a brotherhood for sure.
Absolutely. John said again that they need to divide that West Coast up into regions a little bit better for you guys.
It would be nice, but yeah, we just got to get the numbers.
So looking forward to 2022 and the Bass Pro Tour. I think that they did a pretty good job with the schedule. Nothing jumps out at me as, oh, why'd you do that? Is there an event that you're looking most forward to on the schedule?
It kind of ties in with something else. Everyone always asks me, like, hey, what's your favorite lake to fish? And I always say that wherever the next tournament is. So
that's right.
You know what I mean? You never know which one's going to be my favorite next year. I'm looking forward to, I really like fishing around the Ozarks, and we got an Ozark event this year, at Lake of the Ozarks. So I'm looking forward to that one for sure. I'd sure love to be at Red Crest at Grand. I love Grand Lake, and I won't be there though. So not, at least not fishing. So
that's right.
But yeah, Lake of the Ozarks, I'm definitely looking forward to, but the whole schedule looks good. It's well spaced, and there's still time to do other events, around the country, to kind of fill in the gaps, and should be a lot of fun.
With all that being said, we've talked about the West Coast experience and what makes you guys so good. You've been playing the game for a few years. What do you think the biggest advancement in the sport of bass fishing has been since you started fishing?
I mean, I guess probably just electronics. You know what I mean? First, it would have to be, when the Power Pole first came out. I mean, dude, that thing was, I hate to say game changer because it gets so used for everything, but dude, it was, man. And then getting Spot Lock after that was, an open water Power Pole basically, which was incredible tool. And now we have, all the different forward facing sonars, active target, that type of stuff. And man, that's huge. I mean, I'm using it for not just to see fish. I'm looking at structure, all kinds of stuff. As you're going down a bank, you're pointing that thing out, and you're looking for where the next brush pile is under the water, how a point sticks out. So you can see where the break is on a point, and you know exactly where to cast, things like that. It's huge. I mean, it's so valuable. I can't imagine living without it now. And I've only used it a couple months. So.
And see, I think they ought to go back to flashers only.
I don't care. I'd do it too. Long as nobody's sneaking a regular one, a forward facing sonar on the boat.
Yeah, I'm good. It's funny because you see so many of these young kids that when they, young kids, that's, high school kids that don't even really know what a flasher is anymore. That makes me feel old, man.
Yeah, I used one the other day, actually. A buddy of mine, I had my boat back east. It wasn't just the other day, it was in the summer, but my boat was back east, and this guy wanted to fish a Wednesday nighter, and he had a flasher on his console still, and I got to use it. I was like, man, this thing's awesome.
That's right.
That's exactly right. Even at high speeds, at red great, and it's instant data. It was the first live imagery we had. I mean, it's always instant. It's always accurate and always instantaneous. We used to use them. A lot of guys used them for ice fishing because it isn't telling you past, what was in the past. It's telling you what is right now.
Right.
Where like a regular 2D sonar, all that's past. It won't show you until it's gone, basically.
And I remember in the advancements, the old papergraphs, how back in the day they were the game changer.
Oh,
now
yeah.
We have everything we have today. What's going to be next? Do you think there's anything that can be better than what we have now?
I think you're going to see, just my opinion, I have no idea, but just my opinion is that we're going to see that forward-facing sonar type of stuff get even better. We're going to, if we can get that cone angle to go wide and still produce the same type of imagery, probably with like how you do it right now would be having a couple different transducers. So if we can get a couple different transducers to create that angle and create accurate imagery, and then combine it onto one screen, that'd be killer. Right now, it's a very narrow cone. So like if I wanted to see how my crankbait was running out there, I'd have to, cast it right, right in that little
Right.
circumference. You know what I mean? So it's very narrow. It's very precise, but it's very narrow. If we can broaden that out, that'd be pretty cool. And you can do it like if you turn the active target on the, on the whatever they call it, I forget their term for it, but the panoramic view,
Right.
you can kind of see it, but it's not nearly as crisp. You're not going to see it the same way that you would in the forward facing position for sure. But if we can
Right.
expand that to a wider cone angle, or do it with a variety of transducers that create one image, it's going to be cool. I don't think that's that far off.
Yeah, the only concern I have about it is when it gets so good that you're not fishing for them anymore. It's
you still got to catch them, and then,
you still got to catch them.
I think we're already seeing that fish are getting conditioned to that. You know what I mean? It seems like the fish are paying attention to that, like the boats as they get closer. That
Right.
type of stuff. They know they're going to get plucked. You know what I mean? The places that use forward facing sonar a lot, the fish are changing for sure.
Getting smarter or wiser.
Yeah.
Too. I think it was Lake Travis last year. We were up at the far end of the lake, and everybody was fishing brush piles, and it really looked like a drop shot tournament because everybody was staring down at their electronics until they made a cast where they were looking for those brush piles, and it was crazy to me, because really, if you'd just seen a picture, you'd be like, oh yeah, all those guys are drop shotting because they were all staring at the screens. Let's see. Don LaBelle said, keep it up, Roy. He knows you're going to get that MLF win soon. And I tend to agree.
Right on. I can't wait, dude. I've struggled a lot on that circuit and, with the format and whatnot. And a lot of the lakes we fish, I've never been to. You get a day and 3/4 or whatever for practice. And, it's just a hard hurdle for me to climb, you know what I mean? And that format, you have to get bit every 10 seconds, you know what I mean? And
sometimes
I've never fished that way in my life. And, but man, it's an exciting format. I can choose to go do whatever I want. And, I'm going to choose to go back there again. It's a challenge for me, and I think I'm getting a little bit better at it. And I can't wait to get good at it. You know what I mean?
It's amazing to watch from a fan perspective where you can, nobody's really ever out of it because it can happen so fast. And man, I know there's been some hearts broken because of that format.
Oh yeah. You ain't kidding.
The 5 fish is still great because, I traveled to the pro circuit last year as well. And it's something to be said for those fish getting weighed in too. But I do believe for the longevity of the sport, the catch, weigh, and release is the answer.
Absolutely.
It's so much better for the fish and the fisheries. Is there anything else, Roy, that we need to touch on? I did want to ask you about you mentioned the second jig you used the other day earlier, the pepper jig. Have you talked to Justin recently? How are things going at Pepper Custom Baits?
Yeah, it's still going great, and it definitely was a hardship. When Gene passed away, Gene was the official owner of Pepper Custom Baits, and his son Justin helped him out as well. And but yeah, Justin's doing a great job with it, and I haven't talked to him in a couple months, but things are still rocking up there, and they're making product and making some real quality stuff, man.
I think that's probably how we met, was through Gene many years ago. But I just want to give a shout out, if you're looking for a top of the line jig, spinnerbait, Pepper Custom Baits, go check them out. It's a small company. They build all their own product, and the stuff catches fish. I believe that any guy on the West Coast would tell you that.
Oh yeah, for sure. And they still, I think their number one selling spinnerbait still Hawk Secret. So go check that out.
Don't tell anybody. Anyway, Roy, we just wanted to say congratulations, have you on a show, and and just kind of get to know you a little bit. Welcome back anytime. If there's anything else you need to touch on, let's go ahead and hit it so we can get you off here and back to your family.
All right, buddy. No, man, I'm good, but I just want to say thanks for having me on, and likewise, man. If you need anything from me, or you just want to, shoot around a little bit, or bounce ideas, or
Yeah.
anything, man, you can hit me up anytime.
So just real quick, where can people find you? Where can they find out more about your social outlets?
Mm-hmm.
On Instagram,
Facebook,
Facebook,
yeah, Roy Hawk Fishing, on Facebook, and
Fish
Fish and
Hawk.
Hawk on Instagram, and one Fish Hawk on whatever that's called, Twitter.
That's right. There you go. All right, Roy. Well, look, man, we appreciate you taking the time to join us tonight, and I look forward to seeing you in a couple months.
Yeah, man, it's gonna come up quick.
Yeah, it is, buddy. Have a great Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas, and we'll see you in a few weeks.
All right, you too. God bless. Thanks, brother.
All right, man. Talk to you.